Have you ever felt like the universe was punishing you for caring too much? What if I told you? The people who broke your heart are finally facing their own darkness, and your rebirth is the gift they never saw coming. Capricorn, listen closely. The universe has been whispering to you through signs, strange coincidences, and that quiet feeling in your gut. This is not your imagination. You're standing at the edge of a cosmic turning point, and what's coming next isn't just healing, it's a complete rebirth. But first, you need to understand one thing. You can't keep holding on to what already tried to destroy you. Today's message? It's not for the faint of heart. It's for the warrior in you who's finally ready to rise. Hey there. This isn't just another video. This is something deeper. Something your soul's been waiting for. If love's left you hollow, if betrayals become way too familiar, if your career feels stuck and your heart feels heavy, you're not alone. Stick with me, because what's ahead might just flip your entire perspective. The universe, your spirit team, even your ancestors, they've lined this up perfectly for you. And all it asks in return is that you open your heart and finally let go of what's been dragging you down. Capricorn Karma Script. Let's talk, Capricorn. Not the version of you that's perfectly composed and keeps it all together. I mean the real you, the one who lies awake at night replaying old conversations, wondering what went wrong. You've been strong for so long that most people don't even notice when you're struggling. You've mastered the art of the brave face, haven't you? But here's the thing. Just because you carry it well doesn't mean it's not heavy. You've been the rock for so many people, the dependable one, the one who always shows up. But who's showing up for you? Let me introduce you to Evelyn. She's a Capricorn too. She had everything, on paper, good job, good credit, good posture. But inside, she was running on fumes. Her marriage fell apart after years of emotional neglect. Her boss, who once praised her, suddenly turned cold and replaced her with someone younger and cheaper. And still, she smiled. Still, she said she was fine. But her body told the truth. Her soul was tired. Her light felt dimmed. She wasn't just burnt out. She was becoming invisible to herself. Panic attacks, digestive issues, that constant tightness in her chest. She thought she had healed. She read the books. She went to yoga. But healing isn't just about checking off a self-care list. It's about being real with yourself. Evelyn hadn't been real in years. She was still carrying anger, grief, shame, and pretending like it was nothing. And when you do that long enough, your life starts to reflect that stuck energy. You feel blocked, unlucky. But really, you're just clogged with unspoken pain. Capricorn, you don't have to keep pretending. You don't have to carry all of it alone. The truth is, what you don't heal, you repeat, and what you refuse to feel ends up controlling you in ways you don't even notice. Now let's dive into something people don't talk about enough: karma. Not the Instagram quote kind. I'm talking about real cosmic cause and effect. You've probably wondered why some of the people who hurt you seem to be living their best lives. Evelyn asked herself that for years. Her ex moved on fast, flaunting his new life on social media like nothing happened. The coworker who sabotaged her got promoted. It felt like a slap in the face from the universe. But the universe, it's not done. It's never done. Karma doesn't always move fast, but it's always accurate. It doesn't chase. It aligns, not to punish, but to correct. Sometimes it arrives in silence. Sometimes it shows up as an ending disguised as a beginning. One day, Evelyn heard that same coworker was quietly fired after a whistleblower exposed unethical practices. The ex got dumped and ended up in legal drama. Did Evelyn celebrate? No, but she felt peace. Not because they got what they deserved, but because she finally realized she didn't need to see their downfall to feel whole. That was her turning point. She stopped looking outward for closure, stopped scrolling through their profiles, stopped rehearsing what she'd say if she ran into them. Instead, She turned inward. She journaled. She cried. She forgave herself for staying too long. She stopped trying to prove her worth to people who could never see it. Capricorn, you might be waiting for an apology, but the truth is, you don't need one. You need freedom. Freedom from carrying pain that isn't yours. Freedom from rewriting history in your head, trying to make sense of someone else's choices. What they did is on them. What you do next, that's on you. Try this tonight. Write a letter to the person who hurt you. Say everything you've been holding in. Don't filter it. Don't send it. Burn it. Watch the flames rise and imagine that pain leaving your body. Then breathe. You just did something powerful. You released a story that no longer serves you. Evelyn did that once a week for a month. Every time she let go of one story, a new door opened. She got invited to a creative retreat. She made new friends who saw her, not for what she did, but for who she was. She found love again, not a fairy tale, but something real. Honest, kind. That's the thing about karma. It's not about watching others fall. It's about rising because you finally let go of what dragged you down. And guess what? That rising begins the moment you decide you're worth more than your pain. Let's keep going, Capricorn. Because this next part, it's where things really begin to shift. Let's talk about something that most people overlook, your energy field. Yeah, that might sound a little woo-woo, but hear me out. Your past doesn't just sit in your memory. It lives in your body, your emotions, your nervous system. It echoes in your triggers, your patterns, your silence. Every time you hold your breath instead of speaking your truth, that's old energy replaying a familiar song. It's coded into the way you react, the people you attract, and the patterns you keep repeating, even when you swear you've outgrown them. That's what Evelyn had to face. She thought cutting her ex out of her life was the final step. But the truth? He was still there, energetically, in the way she flinched when someone raised their voice, in how she second-guessed her worth every time someone praised her, in the way she kept choosing partners who reminded her, even subtly, of the one who broke her. It wasn't because she was weak. It was because she hadn't fully cleared the residue he left behind. Your energy is like a playlist running in the background. If you don't update it, you'll keep dancing to the same old tune. Evelyn had to learn that the hard way. New city, new job, same emotional loops, until she paused long enough to ask herself, what am I still holding on to that's no longer mine? She got honest about her habits, her fears, her default settings, and the more honest she got, the more she began to shift. It didn't happen overnight. It was one journal entry at a time, one therapy session, one walk in the park where she cried on a bench for 20 minutes and then, somehow, felt lighter. She started doing cord-cutting meditations, visualizing herself releasing those invisible ties to people and pain that no longer served her. And every time she did, something moved. Her chest felt less tight. Her phone rang with opportunities that didn't feel forced. She got better sleep. Little things, right? But those little things added up. That's how energy works. Clear space, and the universe rushes in to fill it. Capricorn, here's your invitation. Stop dragging the past into your present. It doesn't belong there. Take time to sit with what still lingers, and then let it go. With love, not bitterness. Because releasing doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing peace over punishment. And that choice, that's your power. Now let's shift into something even deeper. Let's talk about healing. Real, divine, spiritual healing. The kind that comes when you stop doing it all by yourself and start inviting something greater in. Enter Archangel Raphael, the healer of healers, the presence that shows up when your soul is ready to mend in ways your mind can't explain. Evelyn didn't grow up religious. She wasn't used to talking to angels. But after hitting emotional rock bottom, she got curious. She started reading about energy healing and stumbled across Raphael's name. At first, she rolled her eyes. But then, she began noticing green feathers on her morning walks. She started dreaming about emerald light. One day, while meditating, she felt a warmth spread across her chest, like someone had gently placed their hand there. It was like being wrapped in light, not dramatic, just safe. Like something bigger was saying, "You're not alone anymore." It freaked her out at first, but eventually she leaned into it. She started whispering short prayers when things felt hard. "Raphael, help me heal what I can't see." And little by little, things began to change. Her anxiety didn't disappear, but it softened. Her thoughts slowed down. The shame she used to carry like a coat began to fall away. She began forgiving herself for things she didn't even know she was holding on to. That's what divine healing does. It doesn't erase the past. It brings light into the places we tried to hide. Capricorn, maybe you've been trying to fix everything by yourself. Maybe you think if you just work hard enough, plan well enough, or push through the pain, you'll be okay. But what if the real shift happens when you surrender instead of strive? When you invite healing in instead of trying to force it? Try this. Tonight, before you sleep, place your hand on your heart. Take a deep breath. Say out loud, "Raphael, guide me toward wholeness." Then just breathe. You don't have to feel anything spectacular. Just trust that something has begun, and those moments in life when everything feels stuck, you're doing the work, showing up, manifesting, praying, visualizing, and yet it's like the universe hit pause. No movement, no clarity, just stillness. If you're nodding your head right now, welcome to what spiritual folks call the hanged man energy. And no, it's not a punishment. It's a sacred timeout, one designed to slow you down just enough so you can actually hear yourself think. Evelyn hit this exact point. Everything was supposed to be aligning. She had just launched her own business, poured her savings into it, and believed it would finally give her the freedom she craved. But weeks passed, then months. Sales were slow, clients didn't follow through. She felt like a failure, but what she didn't see at the time was how divine that pause really was. Because sometimes standing still isn't being stuck. It's being recalibrated by the universe itself. In that stillness, she finally heard the voice she'd been silencing for years, her own. The one that said, "You're not doing what you love, you're doing what's safe," and it stung. But it was real. See, sometimes life stalls not because we're off track, but because we're being asked to listen, to reassess, to pivot. Capricorn, if your life feels like it's in a holding pattern, stop fighting it. Lean in. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding? What truth have I been too scared to face? It might not be convenient. It might not fit the plan you had in your head, but it might be the very thing that sets you free. During her pause, Evelyn picked up a paintbrush for the first time in years. She started writing poetry again, not for money, not for validation, just to feel something. And wouldn't you know it? That little side hobby led her to people, opportunities, and a new version of success she never imagined. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't overnight, but it was aligned. And alignment? That's where peace lives. So if you're in that quiet season, if things feel like they're dragging, trust that something bigger is unfolding behind the scenes, but it won't reveal itself until you slow down enough to feel it. Take a walk without a podcast playing. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. Ask your soul, what do I need to know right now? And then wait. The answer will come when you're still enough to receive it. Now let's move into something equally powerful. Boundaries. Yeah, I know. The word itself can feel intimidating. But here's the truth. Boundaries aren't walls. They're bridges. They're the way you teach the world how to treat you. And if you're constantly drained, resentful, or feeling like you're last on your own list, chances are you've got some leaky boundaries. Evelyn was a professional people pleaser. She said yes when she wanted to say no. She overcommitted, overdelivered, and underrested. And for a while it worked, sort of. People liked her. She got praise. But inside she was crumbling. She was tired, overwhelmed, resentful. And worst of all, she thought it was her fault for not being able to keep up. One day, after yet another last-minute favor that pushed her over the edge, she broke down in tears. That moment, raw, uncomfortable, unfiltered, became her turning point. She realized she wasn't being kind. She was being self-abandoning. And there's a big difference. Capricorn, when you overgive, it's not generosity. It's depletion wearing a mask. Capricorn, I know you love being dependable. It's one of your greatest gifts. But if your reliability is costing you your peace, your health, your joy, it's not service. It's self-sacrifice. And that's not sustainable. Evelyn started small. She practiced saying no without explaining herself. She set office hours for her freelance work and stuck to them. She let calls go to voicemail. At first, the guilt was loud, but over time, her energy came back. Her creativity returned. She felt grounded again. And the best part? The people who truly valued her, they respected her boundaries. The ones who didn't, they faded away and made space for better ones. Boundaries are a form of self-respect. They don't push people away. They show people how to get closer to the real you. When you say yes to everything, you dilute your power. But when you say yes only to what aligns, you become magnetic. Opportunities find you. Peace finds you. You find you. Here's a simple practice. At the end of each day, ask yourself, where did I betray myself today in the name of keeping the peace? And then forgive yourself. Decide to do one thing differently tomorrow. That's how new patterns are born, one moment of self-honor at a time. Evelyn also realized something powerful. Saying no to someone else is often saying yes to your own future. She used to think boundaries were harsh, even selfish, but over time she saw how much more present, loving, and energized she became when her own cup was full. She stopped feeling guilty for needing space. She stopped apologizing for taking care of herself. She began to understand that real connection isn't built on overgiving, it's built on authenticity, and authenticity requires self-trust. Capricorn, I know you've been through a lot. I know you've carried more than your share. But this season of your life, it's about reclaiming your energy, about remembering that you're not here just to perform or prove. You're here to thrive, to feel, to live fully, and that starts with space. Space to hear your soul, space to protect your peace, space to be seen, not as the one who's always strong, but as the one who's finally real. Give yourself that gift. Start today. Evelyn did that every night for 3 weeks, and in that time, she stopped settling. She started speaking up. She began showing up in rooms with a quiet confidence that wasn't loud, but it was unshakable. People noticed. Opportunities flowed. Peace settled in places where chaos used to live. That's what healing looks like. It's not a magical transformation montage. It's slow, subtle, sacred, and it's available to you right now. So ask yourself, what would change in your life if you believed you were worthy of healing? Not just surviving, not just functioning, but truly healing? Capricorn, this isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you to be small. And with help, from within, from above, you can return to that version of you, the powerful, intuitive, resilient soul you've always been. And let's be honest, Capricorn, healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel like you're on top of the world. Other days like you're drowning in emotions you thought you already dealt with. That's normal. That's human. Evelyn had days when she felt unstoppable, followed by mornings she couldn't even get out of bed. But she kept showing up for herself. That's the real work. Choosing to keep showing up, even when it's hard, even when it's quiet, even when no one else sees it but you. That healing starts when you say yes, not to the past, not to the pain, but to the possibility of something better. And that yes, it's waiting for you tonight. This is it, Capricorn. The moment where everything you've been carrying, hiding, questioning, it all starts to make sense. You weren't broken. You were breaking open. There's a difference. And that difference is everything. Evelyn used to believe pain meant she failed. That the heartache, the missed chances, the betrayals, they were a reflection of her not being good enough. But what if pain isn't punishment? What if pain is the path, the teacher, the fire that forges something new? Her awakening didn't come in a neat little package. It wasn't some dramatic moment under the stars with angelic music playing in the background. It came when she was staring at her own reflection with swollen eyes and a shattered heart and decided, no more. No more shrinking, no more settling, no more staying silent. And that's where it began. She stopped needing validation from people who couldn't even validate themselves. She stopped chasing people who ran from intimacy. She stopped explaining her worth to those committed to misunderstanding her. She chose herself, for real this time. Capricorn, your rebirth won't look like anyone else's. It might be quiet, it might be slow, but make no mistake, it's happening. Every choice you make to honor yourself, every boundary you set, every time you rest when guilt says grind, every time you say no to what drains you and yes to what lights you up, that's rebirth. You've earned your strength. You've walked through fire that others couldn't survive. And now, it's time to let those scars mean something, not as reminders of the pain, but as proof of your becoming. Evelyn got to a point where she stopped asking, why did this happen to me? And started asking, what is this trying to teach me? That shift changed everything, because life doesn't get easier. But when you grow stronger, deeper, wiser, life feels different. You move through it with more grace, more clarity, more trust. Capricorn, maybe this is your turning point too. Maybe this is the part where you rise, not just because you have to, but because you finally believe you deserve to. So take a deep breath. You're not late. You're not behind. You're right on time for your own unfolding. And just like Evelyn, you get to make a new choice today. To stop shrinking, to stop performing, to stop abandoning yourself to be accepted. You don't need anyone's permission to rise. The universe already said yes to you. All that's left is you saying yes back. So go ahead, reclaim your joy, reclaim your energy. Step into the version of you who's been waiting quietly underneath all the fear and noise. She's ready, he's ready, you're ready. And listen, healing isn't a straight line. Evelyn still has days where doubt creeps in, when the old voices whisper that she's too much or not enough. But now, she has tools, awareness, boundaries, faith. She doesn't spiral like before. She breathes, she regroups, she moves forward. That's the new you, too. Not perfect, but present. Not unshakable, but rooted. Not invincible, but unstoppable when you remember your truth. You've walked through storms with grace. You've carried burdens no one saw. But now, it's not about surviving anymore. It's about living fully, unapologetically, beautifully. So let me ask you this. Who are you becoming when you no longer let pain define you? What kind of life opens up when you stop carrying what's never been yours to hold? It's not just about surviving the storm. It's about dancing in the rain, knowing the rainbow's coming. And it is coming. Evelyn also realized something powerful. She didn't have to wait for everything to be perfect before she let herself feel joy. She stopped postponing happiness until she got the job, the partner, the perfect version of herself. She let herself laugh on random Tuesdays. She celebrated small wins. She danced in her kitchen to songs that reminded her she was alive. That's what rising looks like, Capricorn. It's not always grand. It's often subtle, choosing to believe in goodness again, letting light back into your life one crack at a time. And when you do that, when you choose life even while you're still healing, you become unstoppable. So here's your permission slip to begin again, not because you're broken, but because you're finally free to grow beyond the version of yourself that was just surviving. Now, you get to thrive. Your story isn't over. It's just getting good. If this message stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Don't just click away and pretend you didn't feel it. Let it land. Let it shift you. Let it remind you of who you truly are. Capricorn, you've walked through fire, carried more than your share, and still, you rise. You've faced battles no one saw, held tears behind strong smiles, and kept going even when your soul whispered, "I'm tired." But now, this is your permission to breathe. to begin again, to write a new chapter, not from pain, but from power. If you're ready to rise, to reclaim your story, to finally live as the version of you that's been waiting in the wings, subscribe. Not just to this channel, subscribe to yourself, your growth, your healing, your truth. Every week I share guidance, astrology, healing practices, spiritual insight, real talk to support your journey. Not the fluffy stuff, the deep stuff, the real stuff, the kind that speaks to your soul at 2 a.m. So if you've ever felt alone on your path, you're not. This is your space now. And if this message made you feel seen, share it. Send it to someone who's struggling, someone who's healing, someone who forgot how powerful they really are. Because sometimes, all it takes is one message to wake someone up. You can be that spark. Drop a comment and let me know your biggest takeaway. Let's turn this into a conversation. Every comment, every like, every share, it doesn't just help this channel grow. It helps this healing movement grow. And that's how we change the world, one heart at a time. And hey, don't wait for the next breakdown to come back. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, join the Soul Fam, because the next video might just be the one that unlocks everything. You're not behind, you're right on time. And your rebirth? It starts now. At Dharma Cosmos, we don't just read the stars, we translate the universe. This is where ancient wisdom meets your modern path, where cosmic codes are unlocked, where seekers become guided souls. If you're ready to remember your true self, this is where the remembering begins. Dharma Cosmos, the place where the secrets of the universe come to life.